stuff. So I just usually trade YM. I don't trade, not usual, I only trade YM. So today was a very, kind of different day. On the daily we can see we set this I call it fractal liquidity. Um, and then we actually swept again this continue going up, or mitigate this FVG or whatever. That just led to that big of a push up, and I was expecting for this auto-mize to get swept. That got swept at CPI, which it was not, the best possible scenario, right? Usually what happens at New York Open is like if you have a current trend and just sweeps counter to it, and it leaves a very big reaction to it, it's most likely going to go bearish. So I ended up taking this first entry kind of didn't make sense for me as of my plan. Um, Even though it was kind of the sweep and everything, sweeping here, most of y'all would see like, what are you talking about? What do you mean with liquidity, right? But this is kind of my plan. This is what I've seen and forward tested for the last couple of years, and it works pretty good on the first 30-40 minutes of the session. So it swept that, but the reason why it didn't take that, it was because we did have this possible reaction area for me, right? This imbalancing here, so there's liquidity above the imbalance. That's why I didn't take that, and eventually it was just pretty much that. Like the minimum positive RR was not even 101 to be close enough to the liquidity. I don't mind taking a position, right, where the TP is a little bit below the liquidity being taken. Like something like this, I wouldn't mind it, but this was the 101. Like it was pretty damn crazy. So I ended up not taking that because I didn't really like it, and that was pretty much it. Then I ended up taking this. Why? If you see the 50-minute, for me was very clear that we're gonna have a draw lower. Why this OB for me it didn't make sense. The liquidity was way above here. Even this was this to it was not even a good OB. So just expecting this low to go, and after that we'll see literally what happened, because I don't think it was going to expand that much on the day, which already it has already done like 300-400 points. Yeah, about 400 points. I was not expecting a 600-point move for today. It usually only happens when you have a daily, in line, or some news, some fundamental going on, that you're gonna have crazy opens like 1,000 points or stuff like that. This was 700 points. The average day is like anywhere from 300 to 500 points. So like absolutely terrible price action there. We ended up having another one. This was a sweep. Let's buy some liquidity as well, and this was my break. Boss down. Where's it? Boss down, and then you got pretty much the same. So we ended up having those two. None too crazy, to be honest. Like I was targeting for 1 or 2 in here, and in here I was targeting 1 to 1.5, I think, with the stop loss a little bit above that. 1 to 1.5, yep, a little bit like that, 1 to 1.5. So I was targeting for that. Didn't happen. This was not an OB, even though I marked it. I was not expecting that to have any sort of reaction because the liquidity was way above that. That was pretty unfortunate, to be honest. This didn't make sense to take inside of the trade, and this whole thing was I took those trades because majority of the times where there's like this such huge news event, it would usually just sweep kind of inside and outside the session. So meaning we'll do like this and then just rumble around, do this. But if it just does straight up the opposite of just ignoring that being the move, or just to continue going down, it's usually a signal of it's not just gonna be that move for the day. It's just gonna be a little bit more things. So that's why I took those trades. I'm pretty much break even on the challenge. Where is it? The other one that I took? It was yesterday as well. Very, very unfortunate. But we ended up taking this as well by sell side. And we ended up taking this about in here. Balls up. Yep. And that was pretty much it, to be honest. I trade a little bit differently. I don't trade inverts or value gaps or any of those things. I usually just stay on my own lane, trading the way that I trade, but has been very, very good. The data, that I've taken over the past couple of years is very unlikely to have like 6-7 trades in a row. This is the optimal setup pretty much. So you would see 3, 1 on a bunch of like wins in a row, or sometimes 2 win, 2 win, 2 win. Like, this is kind of a random type of a scenario, but majority of times it isn't. I have a 62% win rate on average. Let's say for cognitive, how can I call it? Like a room of error, like human room of error. You delete 5, so it's 57% win rate, right? So it's like 3 win, 3. Like you can see it overall in here that it's not usual to have like 4 or 5 losses in a row. I think I got a couple 4 losses in a row somewhere in here. I don't remember. It's not as usual though. It's not as usual. 3. I do have a. I do remember. Or might not. Okay, I need to search it though. But in reality, the real follow-ups is just like this type of data where you can know how usual it is for your trade to go counter to like say 5-6 trades. Am I doing something wrong, and what am I doing wrong, right? Because the majority of the time it's just gonna be 3, 2, 3, or you can see this pattern of like constant like 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, and eventually you break out of that range. So it's nothing to really worry about. We did execute very, very good today. It was a losing day. I don't have 100 RR days or like this top tick guys. I really have that, to be honest. You're searching for that. I'm not the guy. But this is kind of realistic in the way that I trade, or what real kind of trading looks. It's just some days are just gonna be shitty, right? Some days it's just gonna have 2 losses in a row, and you can do absolutely nothing about it. Like this, 16 and 16 both losses. You can do nothing about it, and they run to 2.2 RR. I was starting probably 1 to 3, 1 to 4. Yeah, I was starting for that. That was a straight up textbook to target that. It is what it is. So this is probably what I'm gonna be uploading to follow up the journey of all this. I'm not just gonna post wins. I'm gonna post losses. I'm gonna post if I pass it, if I don't pass it, and so much more stuff. Been trading for the past 3-4 years. I'm gonna say, had a couple payouts before, and I'm trying to get back to it. I left it for some time, but I'm trying to get back to it. Last year was like a kind of back test, forward test year where I, kind of switched from my previous strategy, because my previous strategy usually took about 3 hours to trade. So I didn't like that. It was a lot of like, wasted time, a lot of, not really wasted time, but like, it was a lot of like stress and everything. I used to trade a 5 minute, now I trade 1. And it's a lot better. I just trade 30-40 minutes in the day with tracking and everything, and this probably an hour that I do it, and that's pretty much it. It's so much better, and so much more consistent on the mind as well. The other one had like a 50-40% win rate with big RR. This is like a small RR. Usually I take kind of swings intraday, not really swings, but like some intraday trades, but it's not as usual. I usually have 2.4 average win. So yeah, that was pretty much it. You know, I just wanted to show y'all the trades, and that was pretty much it. I'm gonna be uploading every single day, just to keep up the consistency. Win or loss, it doesn't really matter. I'm just trying to just post, you know, just fucking post. Yeah, and that's pretty much it, to be honest.